These are the latest Google Pixel Buds, but are they any good? Let's check them out. Dave Taylor here, and I'm checking out this. These are the Google Pixel Buds A series. This is their third generation of Google Pixel Buds, and they really got a lot right this time. Previous generations were a little bit spendy and had some technological issues, but these pretty darn solid. Now, what's most cool about this is they use something called adaptive sound, and it's just kind of magic. You use these, and when you get into a louder environment, they become just a little louder to compensate. So if you're talking to someone and then you have to walk down the street, you'll find that you can listen to music or talk to that person without any issues at all. Now, it turns out they're also using dual beam-forming microphones, so your voice sounds pretty darn good. Not great, not as good as having a microphone right in front of your mouth, but entirely functional for phone calls, which is where I spend a lot of time using earbuds. Now, one of the other things is they're using 12 millimeter dynamic drivers, and they have spatial vents. This is the latest big thing with earbuds. So instead of having this like air compression and having a pressure differential between your inner ear and the environment around you, they have a little tiny vent that helps compensate. That also has the benefit of you being able to hear more of the environment around you, which is a pretty important safety thing if you're going to use these for something like sports or running or anything like that. So Bluetooth 5.0, so it's not the very latest and greatest, but Bluetooth 5 has a significant improvement in pairing and keeping individual earbuds in sync. I've found that across the board with devices. Any of these TWS or true wireless stereo earbuds that are using Bluetooth 5 or 5.1 actually just stay in sync and do great. And I have had phone calls, listened to lots of music, listened to podcasts, and I never once had any issues with an individual earbud dropping out. And not only that, I paired it with my Pixel 5, and I'll get to that in a second, and I found that the range between the device and the earbuds can be pretty impressive too. I would say I was a good probably 30, 40 feet away from my phone without any issues of dropout or static. And speaking of which, the whole pairing process is pretty awesome. So let me just sort of bring that up, and it's going to be a little slow. I'm going to speed it up a little bit, but this is the process from taking a Google Pixel phone and opening up your brand new Pixel Buds A series, and watch how easy it is to pair and set everything up. Don't worry if you're an iPhone user, because I actually used these also with my iPhone 12 Pro, and it worked just fine. I mean, the pairing process was much more old school, where you go into settings, Bluetooth pairing, but in fact, the sound and everything was just fantastic. So, like I said, you have no ANC on these. You have that adaptive sound system instead, and it's a cute little box. And in the box is, importantly, this teeny tiny little box. And what's in here? Well, I'm glad you asked, because this is 2 other sizes of ear tips. So those plus the ones that are actually already installed give you small, medium, and large. And for me, I use large, and that makes a big difference. Try different size ear tips. You'll be, just very surprised at how different that sound can be. In terms of battery life, you get 5 hours of listening or 2.5 hours of talk just from the earbuds themselves. And then if you use the case to charge them, which is done simply by dropping it in, easy as it can be, it'll give you 4 more charges for a total of 24 hours of listening, which is pretty nice. 15 minutes in the little box will give you 3 more hours of listening. And while it doesn't do Qi wireless charging, I don't miss that at all. It's super easy. USB-C on the bottom. If we look in the box, then there is a USB-C to USB 3 charging cable. And that's pretty much it. There is also instructions. And in the instructions, they give you all the information about the single tap and double taps and all that, which is helpful. Basically, all I remember is if I tap, I pause. If I tap, I actually resume. And everything else I generally do on the device itself. So that's how I work. Here's a close-up. Let me just show you what they look like in your ear. And they're really pretty darn comfortable. I actually initially thought that you were supposed to rotate it as far forward as you could, but that's not the strategy. So put them in and sort of rotate them backwards, counterclockwise, until the little tip is pushing against that portion of your earlobe, depending on your ear shape, and then they're super comfortable, and you have that surface flat in terms of pause and play and everything. So it's really easy to work with. It's a touch sensitive surface. It also has in-ear detection. So if you're listening to music and you pull them out, then things will change. On a phone call, I've found that you have to be careful. If you do something like that, suddenly the phone is on the phone call, the earbuds are not, and the person is like, where'd you go? Also supports Google Assistant, as you would expect from Google. Really, there's a lot to like here. I'm a big fan. Now let's talk about the audio quality. Oh, actually, before we get there, let me just tell you that I've found zero latency for videos or anything. As I said, when I made phone calls, they sounded really good to the person on the other end, and their audio reproduction was startlingly good to me. I expected them to be pretty good, and sound pretty good, but in fact, they sound fantastic. They really have a nice, rich, warm sound with a nice sound stage. And I found that in a loud environment, like working in a coffee shop, that the sort of adaptive sound just sort of amped up the sound just a little bit. So I found that I was really quite able to tune out the environment around me as I wanted with these, even though there's no ANC. Usually it's only ANC that gives me that feature. These are doing a pretty rockin' job. Really impressed. Google's put a lot of effort into this evolutionary generation of the Google Pixel Buds. So this third series, I don't know why they call it third gen, or I mean why they call it A series instead of third gen, be that as it may, these are easily the best of the 3 series. So let's just talk real quick. So the first gen Google Pixel Buds came out in 2017 and they were $159. People generally hated the cases. The second gen was 2019 and they were $179, so they were even more expensive. And now this third gen is significantly less expensive, and that's a great trend. Now, before I tell you the price and tell you where you can pick up a pair, I'm gonna ask if you could subscribe to my channel. Just a click or a tap on that subscribe button. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate when you subscribe to my channel. And give me some feedback, give me a comment, give me a thumbs up if you thought this was a good review with some helpful, and useful close-ups, etc. And if not, give me a comment and tell me what you wish I would have covered. All right, these are the Google Pixel Buds A series. They come in clearly white or dark olive. Obviously, these are dark olive, in case I have to say that. And they are $99 at store.google.com. Definitely worth checking out. I am very impressed. I think Google's really got it right with this third generation of the Pixel Buds. And I'm going back to my music, so I'll have to catch you in my next video.